Okay, so here we are for the topic tonight. We're going to be talking about how-tos, right? How listening is the first step of a effective invite, meaning it's not about you. It's about the person that you want to share this opportunity with. So I'm super excited. Dante's been doing a lot of preparation today to be able to share this information with you guys. It's going to be a short teaching moment, but it is probably going to be one of the most important things that you could learn to have a successful LifeVantage business or any business, relationship, anything,
Seriously.
listening.
And it's so simple. It's one of the things that it is definitely the most important and least talked about network marketing skill there is. And that's the ability to listen. And let's just look at it in ratio. We have two ears and one mouth. Let's look at it a 2-to-1 ratio. You should be listening twice as often as you're talking. However, and I say you, I mean all of us. And I will put myself at the front of the line of violators of this principle right here. Because when you get excited, especially when you have great product stories or a great product experience, or you get a nice enrollment check in your first couple months of being a consultant, what are you? You're excited. You're really fired up. And when people are really fired up and they're really excited, what do they tend to do? Tell other people. And while that's awesome, it has to be in the right timing, in the right cadence, and in the right ratio as far as listening to be able to talk, because we talk about the things we are excited about, and we kind of superimpose the expectation that if we're excited about it, maybe that person is excited about it too. And I want to share with you a story of somebody way back when I first got involved in LifeVantage, in network marketing in general, but with LifeVantage specifically. In the first year, I had a very specific goal, and that was to be a father that stayed at home with his kids and helped people build an international business. We weren't international at the time. We were just in the US, but that we had planned on going international. And I wanted to be able to do that from home and help people enrich their lives from being home while I was home with my kids. That's what was passionate to me. And so I kind of took that approach. If you want to quit your job, or if you want to be a full-time parent, a part-time parent, while you're also having a job and making good money and all these things, that was important to me, but it wasn't important to most of the people that I was talking to, and I didn't not like my job. I loved my job as a chiropractor, but I loved parenthood more. And most people that I were talking to they liked their job. So it wasn't that I wasn't listening to their needs. I was sharing with them my need of what my goals and desires were. And I had a hard lesson to learn. And that is, you need to listen to people. But let's be honest, listening is not as easy as it may seem, because here's the deal. Hearing is involuntary. It is assent, unless you're deaf. But hearing is one of your five senses. It's something you have the physical capabilities of doing, which is why you don't think about it. It's subconscious. You can hear a loud noise off, that you don't even see what the source of it is, and it'll scare you because you have the ability to hear. But listening is not involuntary. Listening is very voluntary. You must choose to do it. It is an emotional and it is a mental decision to listen. So you can hear and not listen. And it happens all the time. It's why it's the most important network marketing skill to master, is to listen. So actually, there's all of these slides, except for the end ones, are kind of just prompting a question. But listening, as I said, it's not as easy as it seems, but it is the most important skill in network marketing success if you want to be successful. Because here's the situation. Our opportunity here at LifeVantage has many things to offer people, whatever it was that it offered you. And the reason why you specifically joined the company may not be the same for everyone else. And I will tell you, I joined this company so that I could be a stay-at-home dad. And I wanted to make a decent living, but I needed to make at least what I was making in practice, but that wasn't my motivation. My children being able to be influential in their upbringing was my motivation. So if you're talking to somebody about the comp plan and how wonderful our seller ranks are, and whether they can go from onyx to sapphire to diamond and all the way and get 20%. Maybe that person's already secure financially, but they're looking for a social network of people that have like-minded approach that care about other people. But if you don't listen and you're telling them about the merits of the comp plan, or you're telling them about how awesome NRF2 is and how awesome our breakthrough science is, and we're the only company that has products like this and has backed by science, we're the only company that's ever had an ABC primetime investigative report, and the person really doesn't care about the products. They're just looking for something to get them home with their kids like I was. The product is immaterial. As long as it's a good product and nobody's going to die from it and it's of relatively good value, they don't really care what it is. So the only reason I tell you those things is that listening is the most important part of this success in network marketing, but you have to listen to what their goals and desires are. Now, it's very important that you share yours. It's very important that you share your passion. Or passions. It's very important that you talk about what you're excited about, but only when it's the right time. Listen first to what people are wanting. So it's a really good thing to practice listening. And how do you know? Because when you're listening or you're talking to somebody and then they start talking back and you're just like, you're kind of chomping at the bit to say something, that's the reminder. Shh, just listen. Because if you're waiting to talk, you could be missing something very, very key. Think about this. Every one of you who joined LifeVantage and every person who joins any network marketing company had a reason to make that decision. Now, do some people get coerced by a friend and family member and get pressured into it and they don't do anything? Yeah, it happens. But it's definitely not the majority. Most people are eager to enroll, whether it's as a consultant or buy the products as a customer. Most people are eager, as were you, because someone heard the need that you have, and either you determined that this was the opportunity to find the solution to your need, or they explained that to you, and here you are. But imagine, what if somebody had a tremendous need, like life-threatening need, and you didn't know about it because you were talking about the comp plan, or how great our ingredients are, or how amazing our before and after pictures are on collagen, and the person just glazed over because you're not listening for what their needs are. It happens. And then that person, as a result, doesn't feel heard. They don't feel supported. They don't feel like they're relevant, and they don't feel that you actually listened to them, and an opportunity was missed. And then someone else in another company actually listened to them, and next thing you know, they joined, they post on Facebook, they joined this network marketing company, and you wonder what happened. Why does that hurt? Because that's happened to me several times.
Yeah. So if you are having a difficult time with people, and like Don D said, they go and they join someone else, it's because they didn't feel like you were going to be solving their problem. You had solved your own, but you hadn't listened long enough to really know what their problem was that we could potentially have a solution to. And the next person did.
Yeah.
And so when we say that listening is the most important aspect of an effective invite, that's why. Is because you need to listen, and I would say you need to listen beyond knowing what their pain point is. You need to listen to what is truly the biggest issue in their life, right? And then if you can be seen as the person that might have a solution or the connector to what the solution could be for them, then they will be all ears. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you start sharing specifically your excitement, what it's done for you before you've listened to them and what their problems are, that's when you become salesy.
Yeah.
And it's not when you are the solution, right? So we don't want to be salesy. We want to be solution providers.
Absolutely. So think about this. Listening is incredibly important, but the reality is most network marketers talk too much. And it's why most network marketers who are ex-network marketers, and they think back about their experience and they're critical of it. Well, I tried that. It didn't work. I tried it multiple times. It didn't work. I bet you they weren't very good listeners. Because if you look at this industry across every company, every product, whether it's candles or activating nutrients like we have, or legal services, or water filtration, or whatever it is, the most successful people in network marketing companies across the planet are the best listeners, because they are providing solutions to the needs of the people that they are talking to, their prospects. But if they're in this blah, 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 they're talking all about them, chances are they're not going to be very effective. It's not going to be very successful, because they're not listening for the needs of people. They are sharing what they're passionate about. And I told you, there is an absolute need and time and place for that. But listening first to meet the needs of your prospects is so important. So here's a good question. How do you know if you're talking too much? Well, if you think about your prospects, look at your prospect list, look at your names, whether it's 25 or multiples of 25, if you're following ITT and getting those 25 in motion, can you look at each individual person and identify what their pain point is? What do they want less of, or what is prompting them to be leaning into what we have? If you don't know, maybe you've been talking too much and you haven't listened enough. Or do you know what their why is? They've already shared their pain points, but why is it so important that those are the pain points? What are they looking for? Why are they even leaning into you? Do you know their goals? Do you know their dreams? Do you know their secret desires? And if you don't know, then maybe you're talking too much. Are your prospects ghosting you? They're not answering texts. They're not answering emails. They're not answering phone calls. I remember one of my best friends wouldn't even answer the door when I went to his house. His truck was in the driveway, and I could tell when I rang the doorbell. And the little peephole, when you're on the inside and there's a light on, just an FYI, if you're on the porch and you're looking at a door with a peephole, if there's a light on inside, it shows up as a little white dot. But when the little white dot goes dark for about 5 seconds, and then the little white dot shows up again, you know they just looked through the peephole and then they backed away and they still didn't open the door. A really good friend of mine. That's how you know you're talking too much. Now, it was very awkward because it was all about me. And and I even hear him walking in there. And I'm like, dude, I call him and I hear his phone ringing in there. I'm like, dude, I know you're home. Your truck's here. I just saw you look through the door, open the door. He still never opened the door. So are you feeling awkward around them? Even if you in their presence, are you feeling awkward? Are you just getting the vibe they're awkward? It's probably because you're talking too much. You're not listening enough. And then lastly, your business is just not growing, despite the invitations that are going out. Those are really key indicators. And if anyone has ever done what this lady's doing, just literally put her hand over your mouth, you're talking too much. This hasn't happened to me yet, but all those other things I talked to you have. So this is a great way to identify whether you're talking too much or you're listening just right. So here's some cold, hard truths about when you're talking too much. The more you talk, the less you sell, because the more you talk, the more it's about you. And the more people start to push back. The more you listen, the better you sell, because you're solving problems. One time, I don't remember what event it was at, but Tara Wilson said something really great on stage. She said, we're not product salesperson or people, we are solution providers. And I thought that's awesome, because everybody has a different problem. We're problem solvers, not product salespeople. We're product solvers, or we're problem solvers. So people have different problems. Listen long enough to find out what they are. And when you're talking, you're not learning anything about your prospects' wants, their needs, their desires, their fears, their goals, their dreams, et cetera, et cetera. So listen long enough to identify these things. And most people think that here's a big thing. If you've ever heard, I'm just not a salesperson, or I don't want to be a salesperson, it's because this is why. Most people think that selling means trying to convince people to do something they don't want to do. It's high pressure sales. All of us have been victimized by high pressure salespeople, and it just makes us feel icky, which a lot of times is what people are really saying when they say no to you. They're really saying is, I'm not into high pressure sales. I don't want to have to make people feel awkward, because they're used to people going in for the sale rather than stopping, pausing, and asking them, what do you need more of? Or what's going on with you? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What are your secret desires that if you could wave a magic wand and just make something happen in your life, what would it be? And then just listen. And then if we've got a problem, or if we've got a solution to their problem, whether it's health-wise, financial-wise, community-wise, culture-wise, event-wise, they don't travel, I mean, people is like, oh, I haven't taken a vacation in 10 years. How'd you like to take a free one? If I could show you a way that following a system and working with a team and just caring about people could get you a free vacation to a 5-star resort at least once a year, would you want to hear about it? I don't know anybody who says they haven't taken a vacation in 10 years that would go, no, I just can't wait to say it's been another 10 years since I've taken a vacation. Of course, they're going to lean in because you just spoke to their need. They gave you that voluntarily. This is another thing. When you're listening, be intently listening to what people will say things or people will post things. This is also on social media. People will be very, very open about their problems. And they will be very emotional and vulnerable about their problems. But if somebody makes a post, do not, and I repeat, do not go after them in their comments or DMs unless they're really close to you. If you know their phone number, call them. And even if you have to leave a message, hey, I just saw your post. If there's something I could do to help you with that, would you be willing to watch a quick video? Or whatever it is, whatever the circumstance is, just be open to identifying and listening. And you can listen by reading someone's post. You're listening to what they're saying because they're being vulnerable and they're being transparent. Great way to do that is through social media.
Well, and one thing I would say on that too is if you have their phone number, that means that you know them pretty well. Don't just go into, if I knew something that could help you with this, would you want to know about it? Listen to them, because obviously when we make posts on social, we don't put everything in there. If they're posting something that's bad going on in their lives, there's a lot more to it, right? And so this is where you really need to take the time to care for this person and to listen and to ask them questions. And because there might be something simple that you can do to help them. And then after you've already helped them with that thing, then you can say, you know, I've been thinking about this. And if I had something that could potentially help you get out of this situation, would you want to know about it? Right? So be human and take that at listening. And especially if you have their phone number, that means you already have some sort of a greater relationship with them than you do with most people on social media. Just protect those relationships.
Absolutely. And just think about how you got here. Didn't you decide that something we had was meeting a need that you had, and that's why you're here? Give people the option for you to be the same kind of a person that gives them the remedy they're looking for by listening. So think about this. What if we listened to our prospects so deeply that they felt loved, they felt accepted, and they felt safe in our presence, no matter how bad they dump on us or no matter how bad things are happening in their life? Because when you are at your lowest low, or when someone is at their lowest low, what do they want? They want, and what are they actually craving? Someone to make them feel better. Because if they could do it on their own, they wouldn't be in that situation. Now, they may be okay in a couple days, but at that moment, there's nothing like another human being that has an empathetic understanding and is relating to what they're talking about, to be able to, even if it's just a hug. Because think about this. Some of your highest highs and lowest lows are because of people. Some of your highest highs, and I remember Marcy went on a vacation, or she went on a trip to Europe, and I was not there. And every time we talk about France, and every time we talk about the UK, and every time we talk about going to Europe, she says, I want to go to these places with you because I want you to see what I saw. So she had a great experience, but by telling me that, it would have been better had I been there. And every time we talk about going to Europe, I also feel this kind of like I missed out because I couldn't go. So it's, I want it, she wants it, because it would be better when you have a memory to share with someone else, and then you can talk about it ongoing. You keep the memory alive by talking about it. But how about the lowest lows you've ever had? The people that you felt betrayed by or hurt by another person. Maybe they didn't hear you. Maybe they said something that wasn't true, or maybe whatever the case, they were cold towards you. Think about the what ifs. What if you were the person that just was the most human, loving, caring, open-hearted person to truly listen to the depths of their needs, whether they have financial needs, or whether they have physical needs, or whether they have community needs. They have a great job. They just don't have any friends. And they've got a great job. They have the house of their dreams, the car of their dreams, but they're miserable because they don't get to hang out with anybody. Those are the kinds of things too. Is that person isn't looking for the comp plan. That person isn't looking for a Jeep that they can get on the My Life Venture program. They're looking for a place to belong to a company that has a culture, that has people that are like-minded. So listen to people's individual needs and they will disclose them to you, because if they feel safe, they feel heard, and they feel that you care about them, they're going to start singing like a bird. And then it's now to hold that dear and sacred and show them what we have, if it could remedy that. Because there's something that I know about network marketing. Different people join it for different reasons. Some people will join for the company. Some people will join for the products. Some people will join for the timing of the opportunity. Some people will join for the compensation plan benefits. Some people will join for the free travel. Some people won't join for any of those reasons other than they like this company and the people that they've seen that are involved, and they just want to go hang out with a good group of people. Don't take that from them. Listen long enough and ask about their dreams, ask about their wants, ask about their desires, ask about their legacy. What do they want to be known as? How do they want to be remembered? And use our LifeVantage business opportunity and our product benefits and our culture and our community and all the other things that we have as a way to remedy the needs of that person, because it could and often does change everything about their life. Because I think back, what if I didn't get that call from Blue Elam almost 15 years ago? What if? I shudder at the thought, because my life would be so different. And I guarantee it wouldn't be nearly as fulfilling, nearly as empowering, and nearly as influential to people around the world. I could influence people in my town, but beyond that, no opportunity to. Now we influence people in a positive way on countries I can't even pronounce unless somebody teaches me how to say it. And so that's the cool thing about this, is when we listen properly, and there wasn't a lot of details here because it's just literally a concept of choosing to listen. Listen is a skill. It is a skill that requires practice, but it is one of the most rewarding skills that you can master, because being able to influence someone's life in a positive way is priceless, my friends. And it was something that they will be forever indebted to you and grateful, and then pay it forward. One of the other things you can do best to pay forward is the ability to listen for someone's needs and offer an opportunity to change those needs and change the outcome so they can live a higher caliber of life.
Yeah. So the only thing I want to say here is that if you find yourself in a position to where you're chomping at the bit and you think that you have something to say that's more important than what the person you're talking to and you're listening to has to say, that's a great time for you to just say, tell me more.
Yeah.
Prompt them to talk more, because the more that they talk, the more they will reveal to you. And then you will be in a position to be that person that can show up and be a solution provider, and it will change everything in your life, not just your LifeVantage business, but everything in your life. So we hope that you've gotten some great information and at least some ideas and some inspiration to really work on your listening skills. It's definitely something that I personally am working on. But we know that it will benefit you inside your home, outside your home, for the rest of your lives. But have a great night, guys. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Love you. See you next week.